In the dead of night, a gas station stands alone, a beacon of light in the darkness. Picture this: a solitary structure, awash in the soft glow of its own lights, standing as a sanctuary for those wandering on the road. It's a place where weary travelers find respite, where they can refuel both their vehicles and themselves before hitting the road again. But what if I told you that sometimes this beacon of safety can become a stage for incidents that are far from comforting? Let's delve into a tale that unfolds on one such night at one such gas station. Our protagonist is a gas station attendant, a regular guy just doing his job. He's been at this station for a while now, and he's seen his fair share of odd customers and late-night incidents. But nothing could prepare him for what was yet to come. As the night grows darker and quieter, the attendant starts hearing noises. Not the usual hum of cars passing by or the occasional chatter of customers. No, these are strange, unexplainable noises that seem to be coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. The rustling of papers in the office, the clinking of the soda bottles in the fridge, even the faint echo of footsteps on the concrete floor. All these sounds, seemingly random and insignificant, start to form a pattern in his mind. The bell above the door rings, announcing a customer, but there's no one there. In the quiet of the night, the attendant glances up from his magazine, a chill creeping up his spine. He peers into the darkness outside, hoping for a familiar face, a late-night regular perhaps. But the parking lot is empty, save for a few scattered tumbleweeds. "Hello?" he calls out, his voice echoing in the silent convenience store. The fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting eerie shadows on the rows of snacks and drinks. He can hear the hum of the refrigerators, the ticking of the clock on the wall, but no response to his greeting. He steps out from behind the counter, his shoes squeaking against the linoleum as he ventures towards the door. His heart pounds in his chest, each beat a sharp reminder of the isolation he feels. He's dealt with unruly customers before, even the occasional shoplifter, but this is something else. He reaches out, his hand trembling as he pushes the door open. The cool night air rushes in, carrying with it the scent of gasoline and dust. He steps outside, his eyes scanning the deserted gas pumps. There's no sign of a customer, no idling car waiting to be filled, no figure lurking in the shadows. In a different town, another gas station sits in the gloaming, its flickering lights casting long shadows. Here, a lone attendant, a woman of quiet courage, mans the night shift. The hours pass in a monotony of cars and customers, until the harsh ring of the telephone cuts through the silence. The voice on the other end is cold, devoid of emotion, chilling her to the bone. It's a man's voice, unknown, threatening. He speaks of knowing where she is, of watching her. He tells her he's coming, that she should be ready. Each word is a knife of ice, twisting in her heart. She tries to dismiss it as a prank, a cruel joke, but the voice is persistent, relentless. The calls continue, each one more ominous than the last. The voice weaves tales of her impending doom, of the darkness that waits for her outside the gas station's meager sanctuary. He speaks of shadows moving in the night, of the silent threat that lurks just beyond her sight. With every passing minute, her fear grows. She looks out into the night, the darkness a vast sea of unknown terrors. The gas station's flickering lights offer little comfort, their weak glow only serving to accentuate the shadows. The attendant becomes a prisoner, trapped in her own workplace, the telephone her only link to the outside world. She dials the local police, her hands shaking, her voice a whisper of fear. But the line is dead, silent as the grave. Panic rises, a tide threatening to drown her. The sheer, raw terror of it all is too much to bear. She tries the phone again, a desperate plea for help, but there's nothing, just the echo of her own fear. And then, the phone rings again. It's him, the voice. His words are a chilling promise, a vow of the horror to come. "Soon," he says, "soon it will be time." And then, as suddenly as it began, the call ends. The line goes dead, leaving the attendant in a state of terror and dread. The phone rings again, its shrill tone cutting through the silence. This is the bone-chilling backdrop for our final tale tonight, a story that further blurs the line between the mundane and the utterly terrifying. In the quiet solitude of the late-night shift, a gas station attendant answers the call. The voice on the other end is familiar by now, the same voice that has been threatening her all evening, but this time, the caller's words send a shiver down her spine. "I'm inside the station." The realization hits her like a punch to the gut. The threatening caller isn't some distant prankster. He's right there with her, hidden in the shadows. The gas station, once a beacon of safety in the night, is now a cage. She's trapped. Desperate, she scans her surroundings, her eyes darting from one shadowy corner to the next. The buzzing of the fluorescent lights is deafening in her ears, the tension in the air almost palpable. She's alone, but she's not alone. He's there, somewhere, watching her, but she's no damsel in distress. Fear gives way to resolve and she decides to confront her tormentor. She steps into the back room, her heart pounding in her chest. There's a figure there, half hidden in the dark. She takes a deep breath and steps forward. As dawn breaks, the gas stations stand quiet and seemingly peaceful, but what we've heard tonight shatters this illusion, revealing a darker reality lurking beneath the surface of these everyday places. In our first tale, The Unseen Terror, we were introduced to an invisible menace, a chilling presence that turned an ordinary night shift into a nightmare. The attendant's fear was palpable as he was left alone, haunted by an unseen entity that toyed with him in the darkest hours. The phantom customer took us on a spectral journey, where a seemingly harmless customer became a ghostly apparition. The tension was almost unbearable as the attendant tried to comprehend the inexplicable, his rational mind struggling against the eerie reality before him. In the silent threat, we felt the attendant's mounting dread as he faced a chilling standoff with an unmoving, unblinking figure in the shadows. The suspense was relentless, the terror unyielding as he grappled with the unknown and, ultimately, his own fear. Finally, in the final call, we experienced the attendant's heart-stopping encounter with a malevolent force. The telephone became an instrument of terror, its ring a harbinger of doom. The attendant's fear was tangible, his relief palpable when dawn finally broke. Each of these stories, though unique in their horror, share a common thread: the lingering sense of fear and dread that remained long after the sun had risen. The gas stations, once symbols of mundane routine, had become stages for chilling tales of the supernatural and the unexplained. These stories remind us of the thin veil that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the natural from the supernatural, the known from the unknown. They evoke feelings of suspense, tension, and terror, emotions that resonate with us all, because they remind us of our own fears and insecurities. In the light of day, the gas stations seem ordinary, but for those who've experienced the horrors of the night, they will never be the same again.